is up, misfits, one and all, to tonight's Midnight Ranting? We evolved from apes. Dun, dun, dun. Yes. Where we are no more or less indeed evolved from any other ape creature out there, even if one species so far has learned how to make funnel cake. So won't you join James W. and myself, Amy Newman? Listen, it's just such a good, you get everything. You get sugar, you get fried, and you get carbs. I feel like better trifecta than the
perfect cross section of America. Yeah.
You also generally get it at an event that probably, had a little bit too much alcohol. Maybe you were out swimming a little bit too much, or you're out at a fair, or listen, wherever you are.
You're like, listen, if I'm going to listen to kids yell and scream, I need some beer.
Yes.
I need some beer for me.
And something fried.
Yeah.
Again. Anyway, won't you try to take some you and myself, Amy Newman, for a time so good it'll evolve into fun. What is up, y'all? And thank you for joining us out there on the inner tubes. I do not know how Al Gore did it, but thank you. Please don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Please. I said it.
To Al Gore?
To Al Gore. Al Gore has been hunting man, bear, pig for years. He's out there. He's real. And it's why it was 80 degrees in November. What are we talking about? Yes. Then hit that bell icon to all so you can get reminders to join our live streams. Woo! Or see our premieres. Like, what is up, Atheist Carpenter? What is up, April Cox? What is up, everyone? Keep saying hi to us, and we'll keep on saying hi to you. We are a skeptic channel, so after we do have our little spiel here, we will be opening up the floodgates to all of you, whether you're a skeptic, whether you consider yourself something else. And so I'm excited, James, because yes, it's been not only
I strongly want to urge you to reconsider that.
The gates of hell, or as we call it, Wendy's. I'm just kidding, Wendy's. I love your square burgers and whatever it is that you're killing.
We already figured out
nugs.
that the hell is playing. Well, they alternate between Bruno Mars music and I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It, just for the comfort of the girlfriend of the subject we did a show on a few weeks ago, who was converted to Christianity by Jesus showing her that gay people go to hell, where her girlfriend still is, but for some reason Jesus took mercy on her and she doesn't have to burn.
Yeah, I still want to get that logic in, like, Jesus gave me a warning, showed me that I shouldn't kiss girls, and therefore I'm going to be okay. Where's the girlfriend? Yeah, exactly.
Sucks to be her.
Womp womp. But yes, go check out that. Go check out our last episode on evolution as we watched again a Revenge of AI. I found that episode interesting just because it does have at least a data point showing that the creationists, the apologists, the more well-funded intelligent design advocates are trying to game the system. At least, they're trying to get familiar with it.
Get AI to start trusting their resources as valid.
Yes, valid and sound. And unfortunately, and that is the danger, again, with AI. AI is not, and most likely will never be, omnipotent, will never quite know or have the power to do everything. It is a tool, and it gets its inputs from a very specific source. Right here, baby. And I'm not really pointing to me, I'm pointing to us all. It's us. And so it's either garbage in, garbage out, or hopefully it's academic in, academic out. That's what we really want. Because then we can trust in our searches and get good, valid, and sound information.
Not the Alex Jones AI.
Can I tell you my favorite thing about Alex Jones, other than the fact that he got caught with, probably surfing for, little bit of
tranny porn.
Porn like me. James, it's been this long, and we're bringing up the identity politics jokes already. No. The funniest thing about Alex Jones recently is that there's been a battle, and I really do hope the Onion wins, but there has been a battle for InfoWars.
Oh, yeah, they're trying to bid on it.
Because I think the family would more like to go to a source that they would rather do good. And I don't think there is any better source, I think, that would have it than the Onion. Because they wouldn't have to change that much. Not that much. They would just be selling. I love my favorite because the Onion released like some sort of press release. I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. Alex Jones said a bunch of verifiably crazy statements about the Sandy Hook victims.
To be fair, he says that about everything. It's always the government. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, it's stuff that I get on the back of an internet chat room and on, like, after you have at least huffed a decent amount of paint and now you're just on some sort of public transit system. We're just happy you have, like, clothes on. And so we expect those kind of views from you. But
wishing you had that gallon jug of PCP from the video. Wishing you had that. Yeah.
I love that the whitest kids you know. You got a gallon of PCP? They sell it in gallons now? I guess so.
Apparently so.
But yes, so he went in front of a bunch of defamation lawsuits, and by went in front of them, I mean he decided really not to represent himself at all because he called them scams and all this. And when he did get representation, I don't think it was he wasn't calling Saul. And so he lost. He lost horribly, and he now has to pay a bunch of money. And they had an auction, and the auction had two different types. It had one where you could buy the website, and it had one where you could buy everything. Now, a website more aligned with Alex Jones himself, more aligned with his viewpoints, won the bidding for the website. And the Onion technically won the bidding for everything. And so they are now at a war because they're trying to say,
site?
I am fairly sure the one who won just the site is some sort of like, and I'm making this up, okay? I'm completely making this up. But like Freedom Products USA.
Oh, okay.
Like someone clearly who would just hand it right back over.
The people that make the supplements that he sells.
Yes, someone kind of like that. And
Oh,
so now they're going to
$40
have
for
to
a
litigate.
15-day bottle of vitamins. Looks like a good deal.
That gets me to my favorite part about this is that the Onion released a statement and they said we are no longer we're going to keep basically the website intact. However, we are going to take the entire warehouse of supplements and crush it down into a single bar of immortality for one of our CEOs to eat.
Oh, okay.
So once again,
85 quadrillion % of your daily value.
James, do you know how many free-floating, I was going to say electrolytes. It's not electrolytes. They try and there's like some testosterone knockoff that they're always, James, have you been becoming an older man and you just don't have any free-floating testosterone as you used to have? Yeah, you only have sticking testosterone. You need free-floating testosterone. And so you need to buy Alex Jones' supplements.
Low T got you down. Buy Alex Jones hard red wood.
And I love that
in
every
supplement.
one of these commercials, there will be a single woman winking, okay? It's men the entire time, but they have to have a single line, okay, James? And you know what that line is? And the ladies will appreciate it too.
Yeah.
And then they have her wink. She's gone. She got her paycheck for, the day. And we could be on our way. We can continue watching things really stoned 3 a.m. in the morning.
She got paid. Now you go back with Hillary Crowder.
Oh, louder than Crowder. We're going to have to actually ask you to turn it down. We're going to need you to be about as loud as would be required in an apartment rule system. So
yeah, you've seen the video of him and his ex-wife?
Yes, I've seen actually, not to send out super love and not to tell you, James, that my hair has slowly becoming more blue. Like just more blue.
I don't think it could be more blue. No,
you
it's
didn't
already
think it could
out.
be.
Yeah.
But I have been hearing Dark Matter 2525 has been doing some fantastic, I would say, pro-woke, almost pushback videos. And he basically did a video on why people like him are, if I paraphrase another comedian, end up being whiny little bitches. Why people like Crowder want more of a maid or a mommy than they actually want a partner. They want someone to obey them, but that's not what a healthy relationship is.
You're going to do wifey things?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, do wifey things, walk the dog. No, you're not taking the car. I need the car. You Uber to Target.
I need the car in case I want to go out with my friends, which is again being such a little bitch move when your wife is visibly, I think she was 8 months pregnant. Again, that's being a little bitch. That's what I mean.
You want your wife
once again
to ride with a random Uber driver rather than the car? You ride with an Uber driver. Who cares?
James, this is, of course, you're an atheist. I'm an atheist, and I'm an LGBT BBQ. And so who are we to talk about healthy masculinity? But it is possible. We don't have to look down on men. We should look down on men like him, who are not men, who are indeed boys, who do not know how to act like reasonable adults with their partner and don't understand that being empathetic is kind of necessary for a healthy relationship.
Mutual understanding, empathy, compromise.
What is up exactly? Mutual understanding, compromising, understanding that it's not about like a point system. You know, does she make more? Does he make more? You know, as Dark Matter pointed out, they are very exactly sending love to Beamsy. Beamsy, what is up? Sending love. Yes, sending love. How all of these, in my opinion, far right, but definitely all of them religious, moral advocates tend to be pieces of do. Yes, LG, TV, BBQ. That's also the flavor of our chips. It's rainbow, but it also has a nice Texas flavor. What's up, Captive Desk? What's up, Ogre? Hey. What's up, everyone? In just a few more, we'll do out our shilling. What's up, P-Town? And then we'll open it up.
P-Town himself, wow.
That's right. Monkey. Just talking about with Rachel the other day about monkeys because we have lost our tail. We still have a tailbone, or we still have the visual where the tailbone could be, you know, where an actual tail could be, but we no longer have a tail.
Amy, that bone muscle, important muscles attached to that, and you will not be able to do something you enjoy very much without that bone. So I will personally remove yours. I think I got a Swiss Army knife back here. Yeah, I'll remove it for you.
It's not how it works. It's that although it is a connective tissue, it's not used in the same way as if we were to still have a tail which is generally used for keeping us balanced. Now, I say keeping us balanced, keeping creatures, not always, but it's a great way to help maintain stability and also to work within trees. Something that we stopped doing when we came down into the plains.
Use it as a warning, like sit behind them. Anything will step on the tail before it gets to them. It's like a early warning mechanism they're being snuck up on.
Yeah, it's great to, especially if you're in a jungle-like condition, and you can actually go.
Amy, you know, you've never came to the door with 2 bags of groceries in your hand and wish you had a tail that you could open the door with. I mean, that would be amazing. That would be great.
They talk about that, and you can say that about any animal. You can say, well, I wish, you know, there's mammals out there that fly. Why aren't we bats? Why can't we? Yeah. Well, because based on the environment, we evolved this way.
It wasn't important enough for our survival to evolution to push it in that direction.
What's up, Austin Sims? Thank you so very much. Sending love.
Well, snakes have 2 penises. Why do we only have 1? Wouldn't you like to have 2? 1 for each, Mrs. Hoven.
Yeah, and I don't know why Ket is so obsessed with the size of, but I'm pretty sure that's what points him in the direction of creationism. Also, sending love. I did see that, and I wanted to specifically, I didn't want to jam any time. I know that Neil had a fantastic episode, so you should all check out his channel. I know that Mark Reid was live on Modern Day Debate. You should all check out his, because I know that he did amazing, because it's flat earth, and I hate to break it to everyone out there. I know this will be brand news. I'm glad that we can release this on this channel, but the earth is indeed an oblong sphere. Not a perfect sphere, that is to say. They always like to point out it's a few miles. Yes, that is true, though, because of gravity, which also does exist.
Because of the Coriolis effect. Spin of the earth.
Yes. It's also 4.5 billion years old. So
they could get the give them the award for I slept through middle school science class for the flat earthers. Yeah, because they weren't paying much attention.
Yes, or they are very religious, because oftentimes when I ask them what is the purpose of this flat Earth system, they will say it is God's creation, and you'll say, "What do you mean that we're talking? I thought this was a physics debate." And they've been asking me physics questions.
We don't need the Bible to prove the world is flat, but it goes along with it. It follows. We don't.
And they often won't talk about it until you bring it up, because they want to talk science, because it's very easy to deny very sophisticated. Excuse me. You don't need sophisticated science to prove the world is round. You can just use shadows over noon, comparing at different lengths in different cities, as was done thousands of years ago. But it is easy to use technical jargon and try to deny science and sound technical. What is hard is producing your own model, actually giving some sort of empirical evidence. I would like evidence of that ice wall. It would be beautiful. James, did you know that you can't go to Antarctica? That's a lie, but did you know that
North Korean special forces will kill you?
Yes, exactly. They're lasers. They don't have lights. However, they can afford lasers, and they've been guarding Antarctica ever since.
The flat earth, they would say, why would we spend all the time to make a model when the only thing you guys would do is show that it doesn't work and it's wrong? I mean, why would we go through all that trouble?
And they also borrow from creationist language. They use things like, why would we believe in a fairy tale and you just have stories? And they also, continuing projection, they will say things, well, you only have drawings, and you don't have, because they'll deny all the videos and all the pictures.
Are composites.
But then if you ask for any flat earth image, they'll all make what is, in my opinion, the same joke, and yet some of them take it serious. They're like, well, is it a picture flat? Yeah, thank you. That's like a da-dumpcha. And so it's like, no, can't you give me a picture of this flat earth? I guess not, James.
So you probably didn't watch one thing I watched that you didn't watch. Last season of Cobra Kai, when Johnny Lawrence and Miguel...
I've heard good things. I should probably watch it. I can't...
Johnny Lawrence and Miguel are flying back because Johnny's girlfriend is pregnant. She had complications. And so they're on the plane, and they see the flight ticker on the seat in front of them. It's got like a tablet thing. It shows you where they are. He's like, ma'am, can I talk to the pilot? Instead of taking all this time doing this, why can't we just go straight? She's like, oh, you mean we're following the curvature of the Earth? Yeah. Because you're not going straight. They're going they're following the curvature of the Earth. It would be, they could go straight. That would be faster, but they can't.
It would be nice, as no one needs to know except for if you're a geek. Minecraft is indeed a flat game generated within a flat plane. However, this world is very round. You see this in the other planets. That's also my favorite. I feel like a million comedians have done this, but it's like round, 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 flat. Okay.
Well, I mean, we only see one side of the moon. We don't know that there's another side to it. It could be a pizza moon. It could be a pizza,
which we all admit would be delicious. Just put that on the table if it is indeed edible.
Well, I mean, as long as it's not thin crust.
Yeah. Oh, you don't like thin crust? Oh my goodness! See, I like New York style. I can't help it.
New York style is good.
What is up, DJ Rat Girl? Tika, what is up, Dr. Dino? Woohoo! Time to join, bro. Listen along. What about, hold on. You're actually tagging me, so I should show it. Probably don't have time to join, but I'll listen along. What brought on this ranting? Sheesh. Someone arguing you all are apes? I'll tell you why. Because, well, first of all, I've been getting slowly but surely, probably as a reaction to creationists, which is a reactionist to evolution. My goodness, James, it's a chemical reaction. I'm just naturally more interested in biology than I was many years ago. And I would say that the reason I brought up apes is because it is one of the things that I see most often denied in fundamentalist circles when I'm dealing with this subject is they don't want any other connection to any other animal in the animal kingdom, because it almost seems like you do one domino and the whole thing falls apart. If, gorillas are the same, I can't say species, but if we are all apes, then my goodness, shouldn't they have souls? And shouldn't they have some sort of, shouldn't they have some sort of come to Jesus moment so they can go to heaven? Or is there a bunch of gorillas right now in hell? I hate to say that. I have said that out loud and it sounds funny, and yet that would be horrible. Religion. But yes, they don't view that. They don't think that gorillas are in hell because they don't think that animals go through that same test that we do. Only us, James, we're special enough to go through that wonderful test because we ate that fruit. And so now that we know the knowledge of good and evil, I mean, well, the game is on.
Yeah.
All holds bar. We know. Thank you, Eve.
We know that all ketchups are really all the same. And even though the Heinz logo is really cute and pretty and elegant, it's still fucking ketchup.
Listen. But I like the ketchup packets where you can open it so you can dip it. That's more the methodology that I like. More than
those are nice. Those are nice though. Yeah.
Okay, nothing makes me feel more first class than a ketchup packet that I can dip. Don't have to be, so low class better, in there one time. Each packet.
You just take the $1.50 ketchup and you can pay $4 for it to make you feel better that you're paying.
Oh my God. Can I tell you, nothing hurts more, and I'm still a capitalist who believes in social programs, but nothing makes you question the system more than having to pay for a bag. I don't know why, okay? It could just be a single penny. But once they're like, do you want us to bag it? And you're like, sure. And they have to be, well, it's going to cost you this.
At the store, you mean?
Yes, it makes you
question.
That's
not the stores. That's the city governments that do that. They're trying to cut down on bag use. Yeah.
All I'm saying is it makes you question how many things you can truly hold in your hands. Just for trying to save 10 cents.
And the thing is, a lot of the stores, they would not pass the cost on. They would just eat the cost, but they're required to charge it. They can't just say, well, we'll pay the 10 cents a bag tax for them. They actually the cities force them to pass that on to you.
Listen, all I'm going to say is I'm going to do the dance.
It's Al Gore.
I am getting almost nihilistic on that very specific issue because I stand by Carlin's sentiment is we're trying to save the planet, but we can't save ourselves. Planet is just fine. We're going away. Won't leave much. Just a little styrofoam. That's okay. I'm sending love to all my fellow humans out there. I'm still an optimist, but my goodness. More Carlin. I used to listen to him a lot when I was younger. When I was younger. And yet I fought against, I feel like internally, against some of his lessons, let's just say, because I didn't want to be that, I wouldn't say cynical, but you don't want the wheels to be rigged, James. You want...
What do you mean?
What are we talking about? Let's keep on going. Evolution.
Rigged wheels?
Oh, I'm talking about, well, I don't want to get into health insurance either.
Yeah, there you go.
Politics. It's makes everyone more happy when you talk about subject.
From their standpoint, they're adding to the stupidity of the American people, but that is basically that we've thought that it's better to have these companies manage our healthcare for us because the government's so evil, they're so evil. If we pay more to a private corporation just to not have the government do it, that's better.
Yes. I'm sorry. Some things need to not have profit. Okay, I'm not anti-profit. I like my iPhone. I'm okay with giving those Chinese farmers more of my money and those rich engineers that are probably doing more cocaine than is probably healthy. I'm okay with continuing to pay for that. It's just I also want, when they overdose, I want them to be able to get good health care and it not cost an arm and a leg.
It's like Johnny Depp from the trial. Like, that is cocaine, right, Mr. Depp? Yes, that is cocaine. And that's a lot of marijuana next to it, isn't it? Yeah, that is a lot of marijuana.
Or, as he would say, as we would all say, the right of marijuana. The right amount.
That's a lot, isn't it? I mean, come on, Johnny. Yeah, it's a lot.
Listen. But yes, sponsored by Dare. Don't do drugs, kids, unless they're the good ones. What were we talking about?
Nancy Reagan, just say no.
Just say no. Again, unless they're on sale. Got a great price. What is up, everyone? Halcyonic. Sending love to everybody. Keep on sending love to us. We'll send some shout outs. Sending love to everyone who sends in super chats, and we'll highlight them, and I'll dance around because I like dancing. I'm trying not to wake the cat.
She'll do it.
Boo, yes, do. Boo. And then super thanks on the upload, as well as our channel membership with our evolving badge system. Evolution, again. Maybe we're just talking about this subject because it triggers creationists, and we like doing that, for better or for worse.
That is a small part of it, yeah.
I mean, not to get back to an earlier point, and it really doesn't have anything to do with evolution. It's just adjacent, and they bring these two subjects up. It's really physics, but it's just silly if you think the Earth is 6,000 to 10,000 years old. Not only would I say it's silly, but I would say you are somewhere between conspiracy theorists who stuck in a cult. Because it is such a out there view. It is 99% wrong. 99. And to emphasize this, I'll continue to use this example. If you were told that a deal had gone through and that you had received a bonus and you got let me not undersell, $6,000 to $10,000, you would be very happy. That would be a great amount of money. However,
or
you might feel a little
bit Nigeria.
Yes. Well, you might feel a little bit different if you I would say legitimately got $4.5 billion. These
In an email from a Nigerian prince.
wow. And it's funny. I don't know why I know this. I don't know if it's from documentaries on scammers, but there's a reason that it was Nigeria. Nigeria is kind of an up and coming region. It had
more internet access than a lot of the other
more internet. Exactly. It had more infrastructure, and thus there is actually some logic behind why it originated.
They were
and
one
why
of the first
propelled
ones.
For saying yes, they came from Nigeria. I'm trying to think of my favorite so far is trying to sell solar panels back to people that have been trying to sell me solar panels. And I've had some fun conversations because it took a while for the last guy to figure where I was trying to hook the system up to. And James, I wouldn't have to give you many guesses.
Yeah.
To think, which, part of me I was trying to illuminate.
Cable attached.
Listen, I just figured that if I was just able to hook a cord up a certain amount, that you could just angle my tuchus towards the sun, and I felt like I should be able to generate whatever I wanted. I feel like if my cell phone needed a little bit more juice, just gotta point my butt in the air and let loose. Oh my god. Okay. We're talking about evolution. This is an intellectual conversation, James. I stand by it.
Absolutely.
Yes. Evolving badge system. You can join right down below. Yes, Beamsy. That was. Whew. I was also trying to help power the rest of North Korea. I'm sorry to all of them out there. What were we talking about? Yes, supporters, many, like at patreon.com/Amy Newman.
Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un. Did you know he hit like 1 billion holes in one? Let's not be hyperbolic.
I think they
20 or 30 holes in one.
They shut the golf course down after.
You no longer need to golf. He basically he mastered it, and yes. I mean, it's not too different from profit claims. That is how I basically I do have a new pet peeve, James. Can I tell you where it is?
Can you fill me on what's going on?
I tell this to Christians specifically, but it really is to any other Abrahamic religion or any religion that has a prophet. Admit to me that your prophet wasn't perfect, and we can start to have a conversation. Because I refuse to get behind this notion of a perfect being, a perfect anyone, because I don't think that it exists. I understand the concept, to continue to use this word intellectually, I can understand it. But perfect is really a descriptor. Like when you say I have the perfect cheesecake, it doesn't mean that there is a literal perfect cheesecake category that has been filled. It is a subjective experience, a description of something.
That's well, Beamsy, if you would have known, the true name for a hamburger is double bread with meat, invented by Kim Jong-il.
Yes. We stole that idea from him.
Yes,
and
we did.
The only reason we eat so many burgers in Burgerland, as we call ourselves here, is because we stole it from Kim Jong-un. I'm pretty sure.
Or Kim
That's how-
Jong-il, his father, yeah.
Kim Jong-il, yes. You know how he died?
Drowned
fell-
in French wine.
He fell ill.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to leave now. I'm just going to leave. You can do the rest of the podcast.
I'm doing it.
Your math ain't mathin' is all. It's true. What is up, King of the Earth? We are mathing so hard that we may math ourselves out of this world. Probably. That's what Bishop Usher did. He mathed himself out of something, out of his butt. That's where he pulled that out of.
Out of the bibble.
And now we have to deal with it. I know, he pulled it out of the bibble. I mean, it's basically religious fan fiction, and then we have to deal with it in our within our state's board of education when they try and shove this.
Remember the warning stickers they wanted to put on science books?
Yes, I do. Unfortunately,
this is just a theory. Things have not been absolutely verified, proven.
Which, again, not to just go back to gravity, but it'd be like putting it right before those units. The same with the germ theory of disease.
Oh, don't threaten them with a good time. They'll say, "Oh, well, have we ever actually proven that?"
Oh, I know, and it depends on which creationist we're talking to.
Are we really sure that germs cause disease? Have we really confirmed that?
Just have to get the anti-vaxxers in there, and we'll just have a great time, James. It's just an anti-science party. Yes.
But nobody will have autism. Nobody.
I know. So seriously, I should find that claim more offensive now that I have immersed myself. But it's not about offense. I could be offended, but then I understand their situation of a conspiracy theorist, and that is to say that their epistemology has been so warped that instead of offended, I kind of will continue to feel pity, if that makes sense, because it's not generally a single conspiracy that's that they've latched on. It's generally they have this warp toolbox that they use to collect information. They only accept it from alternative sources that agree with other conspiracy theories. What is it?
Well, King of the Earth.
Is he? I hope that it's someone who disagree with us. I know it's murky. It can go still either. I want it. Come on. Push it. James, I want people to tell us that fluoride causes people to be gay. Like, I will continue to say that stuff gets me excited.
I don't think that was the specific claim.
No, I mean, if
fluoride is mind control for the New World Order. Yeah,
I have to get it very specific. That's right. I'm sorry. It's mind control, just like the what's it called? Clouds.
Chemtrails.
Chemtrails.
Yes. You know. Okay.
James,
all right.
Listen. We are paid specifically by Mossad, so we have to get this stuff very specific. Humans are aliens along with other people like critters. Why humans, though? Just humans? That's what makes us different than other apes. But we scratch our butts sometimes. That doesn't, I guess, take away from. Guess the aliens can still scratch back there. Beamsy says, You misunderstood me. I never said fluoride makes people gay. I said fluoride has made some people a pain in the ass. I say that it's made a pain in the gas. I don't know. But yes, fluoride has done more specifically
Respect, hey.
just what's up, empathy, respect has just made teeth stronger within
Fewer cavities.
our communities. Fewer cavities, stronger enamel.
There you go.
Yeah, it's not the problem with our water system. The problem with our water system is that we generally have poor filtration and just need, we need less issues like Flint, Michigan, where the water is just undrinkable. Hopefully it's better by now. I haven't.
Deindustrialization.
Yes.
Capitalism determined that Flint, Michigan's not worth having shit anymore, so we're gonna strip it down.
So it's more that, but that unfortunately is more straightforward and less like a conspiracy to mind control. Unfortunately, laziness and greed are just primarily the culprits there. See, I always find just reality itself is far weirder than anything that we could create. And there are actual conspiracies, like we were just going over. Like when an oil spill happens and they don't want to talk about it next to a water supply. Once again, not the same situation that was happening within Flint, but that is a more real scenario than anything that's being pushed, like the Earth's flat, chemtrails, 9/11 being an inside job. What's up, Rubiks? Sending so much love. James will read out I guess we had a longer open. Yeah, we'll send out and we'll do it. Okay, sending love to Azo, reminding us we have a skeptic and ranting community. That's right. Come one, come all, come as you are. Just not on my sheets, please. Sending love to Chris Disciple, reminding us we have theists. It doesn't matter if you're an atheist or a theist. We just want a skeptic. Just question your beliefs. That doesn't mean you have to question everything. Are we in the Matrix? Well, if we are, then that's a shitty system. I'm just saying the robots probably... Well, it's just very ineffective. They couldn't figure out how to use hydraulic dams or nuclear power or, I don't know, a billion other ways. Now listen, those movie franchises, for the most part, are fantastic. Even the games are pretty good. All I'm saying is the people who take them very literally, like... There's still some stuff in there so that the story can move forward and less applying logistically. Anyway, he's starting to believe. What I like about that, James, best part about that franchise, okay, besides the coolness that is Neo and all that stuff, and Morpheus, he's pretty badass too, is that I like about Agent Smith is his ultimate downfall, and what separates him from all of the other agents is that he is very human. He has human-like qualities. He has anger. He wants to see Neo dead, which is strange for a program that isn't supposed to have emotion. AI. Yes, it's not supposed. It's supposed to be following code by the book. Eliminate. Do not let emotion come between you and the mission, and it does. Now, ultimately, because of that emotion, he is propelled to become a stronger villain. So it is both his weakness and his asset as he gets copied. He does. He evolves. Indeed, he does. But I love that dichotomy. And it's also, if it's only been, once again, we have to mention this every 20 minutes. Also, both the people who made that movie and coined the term red pill were transgender women. Mwah. Anyway, sending so much love out there. Sending love to Empathy and Respect, a $2 super chat. Love you, Amy, but
Thank
you're
you.
weird. That's right. I'll say the same. This is what Rachel says to me every time. I'll continue to say, you want to hear something weird? Tell me when I'm being normal.
Oh.
Yes.
He's throwing dollars. He's throwing dollars. It's making it rain.
Can't help. Okay. Thanks so much. Love, empathy, respect.
It's been a while, Rubiks. Definitely. Yeah.
It has been. And okay, I'm going to continue forward, sending so much love, empathy, respect, and everyone out there watching, as well as Dale Pastel. We're looking for empirical evidence. Please, just empirical. If you want to give arguments or anything else, I mean, we'll take it. But if you're asking what the best form of evidence currently out there, generally speaking, empirical. As well as davegar. The world is round. The world is 4.5 billion years old. If you disagree, it's not a democracy. You can, however, join the peer review system. You can go write a paper, go do some field research.
Go stick a fork in an electrical socket if that's your deal.
Yes, but actually just don't complain about it. If you want to change something and you really feel convicted about it, then go out and do something about it. As well as Rachel Holen reminding us that, yes, indeedy, you should not go around to the nations above, below, and all around and just kill the men and take the women and children as your slaves. That
Because
tends to be
Rachel will be just as happy to enslave the men.
Yes, she's
not going to discriminate.
She'll enslave the men, but they have to consent and get on the knees themselves. Yes, they also have to be shirtless. But
Yeah,
they
say, hey, why can't we be enslaved? You're only enslaving women.
Be enslaved.
And she's like, fine, okay, we'll enslave everybody. We won't discriminate. You're all enslaved. Happy now?
Listen.
The DEI slavery system.
Oh my goodness. I'm fighting so hard to not do it.
Fight harder.
No, I'm not gonna do it. James, again, the politics, you feel that draw. It's like and then my hair just once again it just turns blue around. Oh my god, it's midnight. What were we talking about? Sending so much love, empathy. Oh, I'm just, not only do I love $1 bills, but I mean, we know where $1 bills get put down. Okay, sending so much love. Ooh, as well as sending so much love, Rubiks. Here is some NASA hush money for you from Shill.
Well, I mean, NASA does account for like 3/4% of the federal budget. So I mean, they're that's where all the money's going. Hey, James Wolfe out there. Good to see James Wolfe. Oh, I know, Rubiks. Aren't you still on the page? She's on directly on the NASA payroll.
Stained and all, but I am very much directly on the NASA payroll.
Isn't that mandatory for the DC area, the metropolitan area? You have to wear one of those? Yeah, there you go.
Yes, I have to wear this basically in order to get into the secret underground lab where they film the moon landing. I think.
Wasn't that at Nickelodeon Studios before they shut it down because of
Yes, very specifically, they did that.
Mark Summers
and
at Double
then
Dare was
They filmed all that and Blue's
having a little bit
Clues,
too much to do. Yeah, there you
I
go.
think. Do you work at that? Can I tell you something, Rubiks? That is fantastic. Not only
She works
do
for a contractor, maybe something to do with
we
NASA.
we
She
have
does. Oh, yeah, there you go.
someone on our bowling team. I say someone, but I'm really like the backup, and I don't think I've done the backup in forever. But someone on Rachel's bowling team and my femboys bowling team is IT for NASA, which is pretty fucking amazing. And you work for NASA, and I just want to thank you for controlling the weather. I want to thank you for controlling, most of the things going on globally. I'm pretty sure that everything, from a geopolitical standpoint is orchestrated through NASA. Isn't that what happens, James? I'm pretty sure.
No, probably. Oh, there you go. Empathy and respect.
That's true. They control the weather.
Amy calls her mom or dad to.
That's why it's been warmer. It's not global warming. It's that Jews like warm weather. Yes, and they have turned the global thermostat on a degree or two warmer, and that is, I'm pretty sure.
What's it say in the Jewish deli in Boca Raton? Like on the wall, it says, like, we were a wandering people until we found Boca Raton, Florida.
Yes, we were a wandering people, and then we turned the light on, and the dog was there, and it was 3 a.m. We tried not to step on him while we tried to get something deeply filled with carbohydrates and fat out of the closet or wherever we're trying to get food from. The pantry. There we go. Yes. We are talking. We evolved. We are apes. 2 more sendouts. Just sending love to Rejos, reminding us we have a Skeptic Bible study. I think I'm going to drag James along to it this up and coming week, and we'll have fun because, James, it's just such fun, non-dry material. That's what I love about it, is that, it's always packed filled. Actually, it is sometimes packed filled with action. It's one of 2 modes. Exposition mode, in which it's just saying everything that instead of actually explaining it. And then the other, which is everyone's dying. Everyone's just being murdered, and the firstborns are just being thrown out windows. And you're like, oh, okay, Bible. You could have chilled, but no in between.
Well, you could just die.
You could just die. Yes, that seems to happen in a lot of his stories, unfortunately. What's up, James
Get to the New
Wolfe?
Testament.
Yes, exactly. And then people just suffer and burn forever, okay?
Well, yeah.
It's much better. Way better. And finally, Ian Davenport reminding us that apologetic arguments suck, and doesn't matter if it's contingency, Pascal's wager, Kalam. They don't seem to be that great.
No.
And so with that, thank you to all of our supporters. Thank you to entire Skeptic and Ranting community. Thank you to both. To empathy, respect, and it's a Rubiks. But James, we are talking. We evolved. We are apes. I'm gonna hand it to you for a second, and then we are going to go into our open mic. But your thoughts, evolution. Why is it trigger creationist so much?
Oh, well, that's the $64 million question. Why does it trigger them so much? It challenges their worldview, the way they look at everything. It's something they're faith-bound to defend, but if they weren't, wouldn't have so much fun dealing with it, now would we? God sounds like a real dick. Yeah, he can be. He's kind of a diva. Rubiks, I mean, he kills a few people from time to time, but he's really not a bad guy. I mean, you all know about the flood, the genocide he committed, but it's okay because he's God. But when humans do that, though, that would be bad. You can't do what God would do. You can either do what Jesus would say or what God would do. Or what God would say and Jesus would do. You can't do what God would do. There you go. That's the right mixture. 5,500 years between Adam and Jesus. Well, yeah, I don't think so, but hey. Billions of years prior to, yeah, that's one of there's different loopholes and ways that they try to work longer times in, different ways of interpreting Genesis. So yeah, you can still keep it literal at some sense, and then also not deny the world around you, but could just let the whole thing go. Do we need it? Well, not really, but some people really like it. Do anything to help you? Well, exactly, Rubiks. Yeah. See, I mean, it's not God's obligation to, he set this system up. Okay, first time anybody does anything wrong I don't like, after that, all humans are condemned. They all have to somehow come to this knowledge that, believe this certain set of things, and it's I have no obligation to make sure they know. I have no, um, you know, compunction to make sure they even have an opportunity to know it. It doesn't matter. They either know it and believe it, or they burn. That's it. It's not God's obligation to make sure you're aware of everything, to get you all the information. No, that's on you. And it's funny because you read the Old Testament, and, the Jewish people, they're just going around the Israelites. They're doing their thing. They're not really like trying to convert people, with any sense of urgency. Like there's not like, I mean, hey, if you want to join us, you can, but do you really want to? If anything, the Old Testament Judaism is designed to make it unappealing. It's designed specifically to make it so that the people around them would not want to join it, would not want to be a part of it. That's why a lot of it's intentional.
Wishy. I think James lost connection for a second. And I ran back, y'all. I hope y'all having a good time. I think we're going to open it up to the open mic. And yeah, we'll see if anybody comes in. We'll go for about 45 minutes or an hour.
I'm back. Am I back? Am I back?
Okay. Yep, I'm going to hand it back over to you. And then we'll, in about a minute or two, we're going to open it up.
All right. Hey, davegar. Yeah, the Old Testament religion, it's actually designed to make it unappealing, to make people not want to be a part of it. And we get questioned with this sometimes, like what's the whole point of it? Why is it all these arbitrary rules and restrictions on sex and marriage? Why would humans come up with that? Well, you're trying to control a population. You're trying to do eugenics. You're trying to, the ancient Israelites found themselves in a very contentious part of the world. They were not the strongest, not the most numerous, and they were very scared of being bred out of existence through intermingling with the native tribes around them. And so they put these arbitrary rules, high regulation on sex and marriage. They wanted to preserve themselves for, so they wouldn't be bred out of existence. That's what they were very concerned with. While worshiping other gods was treated so harshly, so horrible, and the other people around really didn't care which gods you worshipped. They all had different ones, and there was overlap. And well, comes to find out that Israelite God, he was just one that they took from the other ones. He's not really different or a separate category. They just took one and he evolved over time to be singular, to be the only God. Sure didn't start that way, though. Sure did not start that way. And that's actually shows up a lot, especially in the early part of the Old Testament. You can actually see the religion evolving as you go. And that's even after they went back through and redacted it, tried to make it look like it was monotheism from the start, which it's not. But anyway, yeah, evolution. We just did a video a few days ago looking at the bunch of the arguments for evolution. They were creationists trying to debunk it, trying to take away the best proofs for evolution. Of course, they failed every time, as they are known to do. But otherwise, we wouldn't have so much fun pointing out where they fail. But it is a lot of fun.
Sorry, James. I'm about to be. I'm doing something. 30 more seconds, right. And I'm gonna
30 more.
Give a little open monologue because I can't help myself.
We'll open up the back door.
Yep, that'll
quick.
be the opening for the open. I'll basically open it up, and we'll talk while we're doing it.
Hopefully everybody stayed safe. All the UAP incursions going on in New Jersey and the UK. Everybody, yeah, what's going on with that? Media is not really talking about it very much, but I think we may get some progress moving in that direction over the next couple months.
And okay, I am going to do two things because I want open mic. We've already gone on, and I feel bad. It's probably mostly my fault. We had a lot to get off our chests with the in-between and ranting. However, I'm going to send the open mic link into stream, and I'm also going to rant a little bit while we're getting ready to do so. So please join our panel at BAM. Wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. And just to entice the creationists, I can't help myself.
To entice them? They don't need much more enticement.
Indeed. Nonetheless, we evolved. We are apes. There's nothing wrong with being apes either. We often get from creationists hey, you may be an ape, but nothing should actually come after that sentence. Yes, we are indeed animals as well. That's what separates us from fungus, trees, and bacteria, and archaea. Something we should be proud of, not something that is a lowering of. Ah, I'm not some dirty animal. You see, on one side are animals that are beneath such intellectuals like myself. And on the other side are stunning examples of DNA, the cream of the crop. Huh. The people who went to the moon, I might add.
Ken Ham?
Yeah, if you believe in that sort of thing, exactly. Human beings. Now, sure, every once in a while, an EMT has to remove an object from an orifice that would otherwise be dandy.
I fell on it. It was an accident.
Yes, exactly. I slipped and just. And reality television is about as intellectually stimulating as having your balls tickled over a radiator. Oh my. But lo and behold, we've spread all over Earth. We must be some sort of super species, better than all the rest. Yet there is no biological evidence for this. We eat the same things, sleep, breathe, and mate like two humping baboons, which is because we're not too separate DNA-wise. So, we evolved. We are from apes. Chemicals give rise to simple organisms, which give rise to complex organisms, some of which are apes, some of which are humans. Thank you.
Some of which are trans.
Some of which are trans. Deal. Yes. Once again, mandatory. We bring that up at least every.
Yeah. The clock was about to go off. I figured I'd hit it before Siri.
Yes, Siri was trying to remind me again. She is hooked into the UN Mossad Soros.
She married one of Soros's nephews, or didn't she?
I'm pretty sure. But yes, I mean, it is now official. Please, one, come all, join our panel if you would like. We think that creationism is silly.
There you go, native atheists. Yeah. Why are there chimps? Yeah.
Why are they? Exactly. Which would be like asking if there are Americans, why are there still Europeans?
Which, Amy, you know, I always say this, and I know you agree with it, but how silly it is that, you know, they're fine with being mammals, but they're not animals, and they're not apes. The mammal thing they don't care about. That's very benign.
And I
to them.
don't understand
okay, fine, we're mammals.
Why they like the term mammal so much. Like, I understand why we like it, because we understand on a nested hierarchy a lot of animals.
One of the levels?
Yes. Well, it's where a lot of quote-unquote cute organisms come from, because we are evolved to find things that are hairy and big-headed.
Bears?
Cute. Yes. I mean, I find bears cute.
Bears? Be cute.
Whether we should
Whether
is another
they're
story.
human or non-human.
Yes, human or non-human. What's up, Fenton? What's up, Native
Hey, Fenton.
Atheist? What's up, davegar? What's up, everybody? What's up, Slicey Slicer? What is up, everyone? We're having fun. James and I will keep on basically ranting.
We'll just roast evolution or roast creationism for a little while.
Exactly. If no creationist comes on, we're no
Slicey
skeptic.
Slicer. Good to see you, man.
What is up, everybody? Sending so much love.
Haven't seen you on the Kimball stream unless you use a different name now. I don't know. I haven't seen you there lately.
I need to watch more scam baiting
Slicey.
content.
Oh yeah, scam baiting is fun.
But we indeed took 4.5 billion years to get here. Abiogenesis most likely was a natural event. I understand that it's on the edge of where science is, and it is not a fully understood phenomena. However, all of the evidence currently points in a natural direction.
But sorry, Slice. But we can be pretty sure that we are here. It seems like we are. We had to come from somewhere. You know, we have no evidence of an outside agent acting on
another word that they love. Okay, James, the word nothing. You will hear no one use the word nothing more than a creationist, and they will love to tell you that you believe in nothing and that we all came from nothing. How can you be an atheist, James, when where did everything come from? Excuse me, it couldn't have came from nothing.
Well, we don't know what a nothing is. We don't know if it's possible. Yes. And we can conceptualize it. We don't know that that's based on reality. We don't know if nothing is even possible in reality. It appears not to be.
Yes, that is, I will continue to say that I am open-minded. However, I'm not convinced a true nothing can exist. The furthest back we could go is the singularity, but the singularity is far from a nothing. You can't say everything in a single position is nothing.
Well,
it means that
everything in one position. I will give you $100 if you can get a gallon of milk into nothing. You mean to tell me the entire universe, all the stars and all the gallons of milk, all in one nothing at one time? That's a big dot. Well,
that is. That's a high mass dot.
Energy takes up no space, and the singularity was pure energy. Energy has no mass. It doesn't take up space. And energy, as Amy and most of you guys probably well know, energy and mass are just two different sides of the same phenomenon.
Yep.
You can convert matter into energy, energy into matter. So you have an infinite amount of energy. You can have an infinite amount of matter.
And it can't be created or destroyed. If you see me, I am not stroking. I am petting a cat.
Well, you could be. Oh boy.
I could be.
You caught one, Amy. You got one.
Yes, I caught one, and she's so cute. She is. Oh, Buttercup says hi to everybody. She's my little princess warrior. Because she is tough as nails. She will go anywhere. And yes, sponsored by cats. We got a fantastic guest behind us. All right, James. We're going into it.
Do it.
Let's get ready to have some fun.
Lower the zipper.
P-Town is behind with us. Let's open our open mic. Woohoo! What's up, P-Town? How are you?
Oh, no.
And what are your thoughts?
Hey, Amy. Hey, James. Been a little while.
Yeah, it has. How you been?
Doing good. How have you guys been?
Pretty good. Happy it's the weekend.
That's true.
Yeah.
As if that meant anything for me.
2025. I can't believe that. Do you guys celebrate Trump's win? Just joking.
I'm trying so hard
Come on,
not to
P-Town.
do politics.
You just
'cause
like
I
walk
said,
up and kick her in the balls, and then
my
and then,
hair
you know.
is becoming more blue. With each year, it becomes a little bit more blue.
I didn't catch. I only caught like the beginning and then here at the end of your stream. So
So we are talking. Well, and you know what? Hold on one second. I just have to give out love. Give out a lot of love. Thank you so much, Native
Well, thank you,
Atheist.
Native Atheist. Wow. Appreciate that support.
Yes, it helps keep the lights on, and it's
You
just
should start juggling.
love.
Can you juggle?
Oh my goodness, I can make things jiggle, but I cannot
You can't
juggle.
juggle Bibles and Korans.
Yes, that would be nice. I would love to learn
Books of
how.
Mormon.
Past 2 objects, I can't do the 3.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Native Atheist. He sent in a #1 fan sticker, and we're just sending you. We're #1 fans of you right back. So thank you so very much for all the love and support. And P-Town, what we were talking about is evolution. That, it tends to be, for some reason, a creationist Achilles heel. And, I guess it's for,
A sticking point.
reasons that deal with a few of their stories, possibly,
it's interesting.
Adam and Noah. Yes.
It's interesting that you think it triggers Christians. Evolution.
I mean, it depends on the type of Christian, I guess, but the fundamentalists, yeah.
I mean, I guess I would ascribe as being young Earth creationist, but it's not because
I'm so sorry.
I operate in the realm of probabilities. What's more likely to be true? I mean, I hold in reserve. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, when you take a look at the different viewpoints and the other facts that are associated with those viewpoints and extrapolate them out, and then you come to which one is more likely. I would say that it's more likely that God made the world in 6 days than God not making the world in us.
Doesn't that sound to me, when you say the world is made in 6 days, that's clearly the more magical option. And so why would that be more likely?
More likely than things just evolving without God is what I was going to compare it to.
Yeah, that's what
I think that that's actually more of a fairy tale than God just doing it.
Where does it break
James,
down?
Hold on 1 second. You said it is more of a fairy tale. Why would that be more of a fairy tale? Because when you say basically 6 days, that sounds very fairy tale-esque.
So I guess I would say it's more fairy tale-esque. But what I meant, I was trying to use whatever term you used, but I think it's more probable. I mean, I just think it is. I mean, there was a couple things that I caught in the beginning. There's 2 points I want to bring up. You were talking about tailbone,
and then
being
James wants to say something too.
And then at the end, I caught you were talking about simple organisms that go into more complex organisms, and these are things that we're taught from a very young age. Like you're taught, oh, your tailbone is because that was from back when we were monkeys. but you were also I was also taught about how we don't need our tonsils because all the kids' tonsils were getting taken out. We don't need our appendixes because those were used for digesting bark on trees.
Mhm.
We don't need our gallbladders. I mean, it goes backward. Just because we don't know what God made them for doesn't mean they're vestigial. I don't think that. I think that
Well,
in light of the presumption,
they're called vestigial organs because they're not used for the same purpose, or they've been very minimized. So it has been recently found that our appendix may have some sort of usage, but just because it has some sort of usage doesn't mean that it is a necessary organ as it once was.
well, sure, but exactly. So, but the way that we were taught it, to keep it simple, is that we don't need it anymore, or it doesn't have a
Sure.
use anymore. That just, and then as you go through school, you realize, that wasn't true. It is still used. Oh, maybe not as much,
Well,
or for the same purpose.
but can I pause you there? It says we went through school because the science has changed. But as children go through school now, they have updated textbooks because better science.
I was speaking of two parts. One, you want to keep things simple sometimes for kids, so they don't divulge the whole truth, which is partly what I don't like. But also, you're right. The science changes, our knowledge changes, and sharing that knowledge also changes. Not every school gets updated textbooks, but
Sure.
the other parts, this simple organism. I mean, what simple organism, is out there, and this idea
Simple is a
that
relative
it
term.
changes into something more complex is just not. We've never witnessed this. We have no evidence for this. And there's too many little tiny parts in these organisms where each part relies on another part to say that these things can change without falling apart. Is a fairy tale. Sorry.
But I will say, all the current evidence does point to simple things becoming more complex. We see this within both DNA and within the fossil record. I continue to ask, what is fairy tale? You seem to imply simple to complex is fairy tale. I continue to put that up against the 6-day model, which I believe is more fairy tale-esque. I don't think there's any reason to believe that the universe was created in 6 days. And so, yes.
Sure. Okay. Well, I was just saying fairy tale as a fun way of saying improbable in this case, instead of, storybook, fairy tale.
Sure, but what I mean fairy tale is more in line with Hansel and Gretel. So I think your model would be more accurate in saying that it has characters that are anthropomorphized, maybe saying where natural laws come from. We say it comes from a person. We may have this person talk, even though that's not really how natural events come about. We have things like the weather system and rain system to explain how water comes about naturally, and to then prescribe it, the universe being created, I would say is more fairy tale in the classic traditional sense that we would think of a fairy tale.
Okay. I'll concede that. I'll use a different term instead of fairy tale.
Okay.
I think it's more improbable that these things evolved than for God to have just made it the way that he said he did.
Why would it be more probable to just make it into actually be some sort of system?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Amy.
Oh no, it's fine. And it's how natural conversation works. But I always just struggle. Like, how did God make a giraffe? Like,
right? Yeah. Well, the giraffe's a really good example of where I could point out. Um, you guys don't like the term, of course, but I think it's irreducible complexity. And the giraffe's a great example. I mean, the way that it has to lower its head because of its long neck, um, and for it not to pass out, for the blood to keep flowing.
Yeah, it's
Just
bad
the
design.
little things that make the giraffe a giraffe, and how they rely on each other in order to operate, kind of like a machine. You take a piece out of a machine, the whole machine doesn't work. So the same. So if you take the theory of evolution and try to extrapolate it backwards, this more complex organism that you're trying to make simpler, you just can't do it because the other parts rely on each other.
Because that misunderstands how organisms and organ systems change over time, which is to say, it didn't just poof have a long neck. What it was there were organisms that had to compete, and as the trees got higher, ones with longer necks won, and then you give birth to longer and longer necks. Like, I don't
Okay, all right, but
understand how that makes more sense
that
than just God saying,
there's an
but I
aspect of that possibly. Okay, for whatever reason, long necks help them survive. Okay,
give me
all right, and
shades.
maybe the necks will get longer. Okay,
Mhm.
fine, but that's not what I'm talking about. There's the components within the neck
So if I
have
could
to
just,
be there's certain there's certain components that rely on each other, and in order for this to coincidentally for those things to evolve at the same time, it is not, in my mind, conceivable.
but irreducible complexity, is it accepted within the biological community? There has been no systems that have actually shown to be irreducibly complex because they come from other systems. Just because the bacterioflagellum is able to act like a motor doesn't mean that it wasn't used as a different system in earlier times, like used as an injection site. They had necks. Necks were already within the animal kingdom. You just needed a mutation for a little bit longer neck for the chain reaction of natural selection to see an advantage, and you get longer and longer necks. But I don't understand how. Like, I just gave you a how. I gave you how it actually got a longer neck. You couldn't give that to me for God. You like how did God make a giraffe?
Well, what you were just saying, there's no evidence for it. So it's a nice idea, and it can be
Where
in
all the
textbooks, and you can appeal to authority all you want. It doesn't change that there's no evidence for it.
well, I mean, it's in textbooks for a reason because that's where all the at least naturalistic evidence points to. So I don't know why you would deny that. If you were able to prove otherwise, they would probably be teaching that in biological textbooks. That's why, like when I asked, this is why they don't have your model in textbooks. And I feel bad, James. I know I pressed forward on a point. I know you wanted to ask something too. And so if you want, feel free to come in. But that's why it's not taught
I'll let you finish.
in regular biological textbooks. I say regular, as in any of the K through 12 or the college system, is any creationist model, because they don't seem to have one. It is just God speaks it into existence. If you want to figure out how God made a giraffe, he said, I want there to be a giraffe. Am I wrong?
God made giraffes, yeah. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say.
Well, it's
And I
just
think that
that,
he put little
okay,
things
go.
in there. Sorry. I think
No,
that he
no,
put
no.
little, if you study the animal, the way that it is designed, it's like God has set it up so you can see it's clearly not been something that evolved by chance or by natural selection. And it's kind of funny, honestly, the way that God did it. I mean,
But you think it's a good model that it takes so long to get the blood to the neck of the giraffe? You could almost faint.
I can't
We have
remember
to.
if it retains the blood or if it has a way of pumping. I can't remember what the mechanisms are, but if you did your head down to try and I don't know, touch the floor with your head and then go right back up, how you can get dizzy or you stand up too fast. Does that ever happen to you?
Sure. Your blood go rushing
It doesn't
to the
happen
head.
to me, but I know people talk about it. They'll like feel like they're passing out. The similar kind of thing with the giraffe, but there's mechanisms to keep that from happening, and these mechanisms have multiple parts. Each part relies on each other, just like everything in our bodies. And for these things to, the way that you recently described, to have evolved, this a hypothetical explanation that maybe these little mechanisms had some other purpose before they became what they're now used for. But it's, I don't want to use the fairy tale word again, but it's
You shouldn't.
improbable.
That always seems to turn around.
But
Whatever.
it's a story that has no evidence for it.
But once again, aren't you just like the 6 days, the Noah story, Adam and Eve? These are stories that have no evidence. So I don't understand why you would continue to use the fairy tale evidence when the reason that we believe this is because of things like the fossil record, having geological columns, having different animals laid out in different strata. This is evidence. It is in museums when we have all of these fossils lined up. I continue to ask, like, how to make a giraffe. Like, if we were to go and start, we're gonna rewrite biology 101. How did a giraffe come about? If you want to pick a different animal, I'm open for that too, or really any other organism.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just pulling up a video that I know that talks about this with the giraffe. I was trying to find the spot, but I didn't want to slow the show down.
Seems like a lot of work though for a giraffe. God could just made the trees, instead of making the trees that only have leaves up high and having to redesign the whole neck and then put systems, he could just made trees with leaves so that animals with normal sized necks could reach.
It's a misnomer too. I think that God made the neck long on the giraffe so he could drink water, actually, not to get the leaves off the trees like we were taught. Just so you know.
There are a lot of animals with shorter necks that and they're still able to drink water. I don't know why that.
But I don't get why that would be a pro-God point. Like, I will just continue to say...
No, but it's a point of how... because that's what we were taught too. Is giraffes, they have really long necks, so they can get the leaves off of the trees, and they've evolved that way, and that's how they let.
So you're just being contrarian. You want to pick something else as the reason.
No. What I'm saying is that a lot of the things that we are taught throughout time, even within our lives, but also historically, turn out to be a load of crap. And they're just stories.
Can one of those things we admit is Adam and Eve? Adam and Eve was just a load of crap. There's no truth to it.
I've conceded the fairy tale-ness of that story and the 6 days.
But then why be, okay. It's just like, I understand that we're always going to have new science and there's always going to be things we were taught that were completely wrong. They were in textbooks, and now we're teaching updated, better scientific text. We're teaching the latest. As we were talking about, James and I were talking the other show, is that you generally want to cite sources that are the most modern, the most up-to-date. You don't want to do the oldest. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have sources if you're trying to, cite historical documents and stuff like that. But
No, I appreciate the idea of science and how you can, the process by which you want to learn more. I think that propagating what we think we know as being fact is wrong, and that we should keep an open mind to other viewpoints. Because when you get these people beating on the same drum, saying it's a fact, while also speaking out the side of their mouth saying, well, we don't actually believe in that in facts entirely because that's not science. But I don't think it's good for an intellectual development.
I will say evolution is both a theory and a fact. So
Okay,
it
so it's
is
kind of
both.
exactly what I just described. You're
Why
saying
is
it's a
that
fact,
bad
but then off
to
the side of
keep
your mouth
your?
saying it's not. I mean,
Well,
Why is it
it's
bad
a-
to keep an open mind and be open to new evidence?
I just said I encourage that we keep an open mind. We should just understand our limitations of what we think that we know.
But we can
I mean,
still
to say
say the
that
world is
evolution is a
round,
fact.
even though we don't have absolute knowledge of it. The world is round, right? We wouldn't say that's an absolute fact, but it's still round, right?
Well, we have ways to measure it and observe it.
And we have ways of
by some
observing
other
the
means
fossil
besides.
record and animals in the past. We can observe that, and it fits along the lines with what evolution says.
Well, I've yet to see it.
The fossil record, are you not aware of it, or you just refuse to acknowledge it?
Well, first of all, I and either have you probably actually seen the fossil record, but from what we are taught, a lot of times it's not true. The way that it's communicated to us, it's not exactly
Why
what we observe.
Why?
Well, you go dig a hole somewhere, you're not going to get the fossil record. It's kind of a hodgepodge throughout the globe.
Okay.
They're all different layers and different.
Yeah, but they can date them, and they know that you don't find the entire geologic column in one area, but it's
you can't
there.
Can't date them. That's another thing. You can't date them.
Sure you can. Of
You
course
can measure different components within these
right.
layers or
that's
within
an
these
effective
things.
way of dating them. Yeah.
It's presumed to be an effective way of dating.
Well, okay. Can you prove that it? Can you rebut the presumption?
I can, using history. Look at how many times the dates have changed just within the scientific community. Millions and billions and
so they get more precise. We get more accurate, more data, but that doesn't mean that
maybe
it's just
maybe
like
realizing
throwing crap on the wall.
If realizing that you're completely wrong all the time is becoming more precise, then sure, I'll concede that.
Well, no, here's the thing. Like, all scientific models are wrong, right? Some are useful. That's what they say. What does that mean? Does that mean like all science? Well, no, they're not all wrong per se. It just means that they're all not perfect. They all have imperfections and areas where there's not robust data sets, and they can be improved. That doesn't not the same as saying it's all wrong, right? Anything can be improved and get better. We don't start with something and then defend it against all reason. But if you look at the kind of changes that you're talking about and criticizing, it's always getting closer to the truth. That's why we're so willing to revise the data. We don't have any sacred cows. It doesn't matter. If you've got data and it's good data, we'll put it into the system, even if it challenges what we previously thought, if it pans out.
Well, I like your approach, and I just wish it was true. But I personally witnessed time and time again where that's not the way it's set up, unfortunately. That new ideas and new information, if it goes against the paradigm,
there's a bias.
Yes. I mean,
there's a bias for previously established things. So like if a theory or if a data set is stood for decades, and you just come up with one-off little experiment that shows a different result, well, they're probably going to want to verify that before they just throw out decades of established science and say, oh, well, we got one experiment that seems to say otherwise. I guess we have to throw all this out. No. They say, well, we want to make sure the methodology of that experiment is valid, the results are valid, before we just chuck everything out the window and go with this, you know?
Well, I'll tie this into an example that you. Okay, so you have different layers on the earth with different animals, organisms in there. Okay. What about the evidence for there being a flood? Consider, and this is where it gets back into talking about probabilities. You take
Which
the
flood?
evidence for one, and then you take, another's viewpoint, which would be there was no flood. It is just, billions of years of whatever, and then say, I have no way of knowing for sure which one's right, but which one's more likely. I think that that's a great approach, and I don't see anything wrong with that. And here's an example of back to the bias. I mean, you have where I live for years and years, and in the museums and stuff, that was talking about how the landscape was shaped by glaciers, which is partly true. But I just remember fishing and going, water shaped this. Like this, what I'm being taught in school is not fitting with what I'm being observed, like with what I'm observing out here. And now it's actually been conceded that it was shaped by water. But for 20 years, this viewpoint was fought just because it went against
glaciers melt, the water
they'd have to change the museums. We're talking about rapid, though, flooding.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, which flood? You said, do we believe in floods? Which flood?
Sure. In this case, I can't remember the name of it, but you're talking about Eastern Washington landscape.
The Missoula floodplain?
I think it's the Missoula floodplain.
Because there's
but
never
I just
been...
remember being taught
tell you all about that.
Missoula floods, so I think that's it.
Because there hasn't been a worldwide flood.
Yeah, well, right now I'm talking about a specific example of, you could clearly see just driving around that water shaped this landscape. And I remember just thinking, okay, this isn't consistent with what I'm being told, slow processes over millions of years. And I just remember it coming out later on that now it is, the consensus within whatever community decides what's a consensus, that, it was indeed, quick moving, high luminous amounts of water that did it.
But it still was water, but for an extremely long amount of time for things like the Grand Canyon. So it wouldn't take something like 4,000 to 5,000 years. These are things that still take millions of years. I don't know really of any movement to deny that water did not shape the landscape of the earth. That feels like more of a creationist circle
big
thing.
Effect, a huge effect.
Yes, I don't think that's a thing. No offense, P-Town. I still love you. But it does. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, water shaping the landscape has been well known for
pretty much
a while now.
The entire Earth has been underwater at different times at one point or another,
and has shaped. We've known also how how slow amounts of dripping through things like the Grand Canyon can make these giant chasms, and how it didn't happen in a short amount of time.
Well, this is what I'm talking about.
I know.
The consensus
Same with fact and theory. We'll go back to.
The consensus within the scientific community is that this area, this landscape, was shaped during a relatively short period of time.
What do they mean by
heavy
short?
Floods?
What do they mean
We're
by
talking,
short?
Who knows, days, weeks.
No, I've never heard anything.
No, I would doubt that very much.
What I'm saying is it was fought for a long time, but let's try to look it up.
I mean, you could look up like the draining of the Mediterranean and that happened pretty quickly. I think that happened over like 10,000 years at one point. And that's
Right now,
rapid in terms of geological time. That's rapid. That's like the blink of an eye. But
I'm talking about something different, which you guys out of because of the paradigm that you have. You're going to say no, this never happened. Well, that even happened with the scientific community. When here, I mean, let's look it up somehow. Eastern Washington landscape. I don't even know what should I search for?
It looks
Landscape
like
shaped by
I
water.
have it happening about 15 to 13,000 years ago
Missoula?
for
It's a colossal
yes,
floods. Okay.
for about
Yeah.
2,500 years.
that's the period of time that it took to shape to leave these huge ripples in the ground that we see today that are obviously made by waters.
Which, once again, is not consistent. There was no flooding for 2,500 years in the Bible either. Bishop Usher would have been very surprised.
An ice dam broke and released a torrent of water. So
What's
idea.
up, Jesse?
That's the theory now, is that an ice dam broke and released huge torrent of water. So it was a relatively short, catastrophic event that shaped the landscape.
The
And-
landscape of the
quoting
Pacific
you,
Northwest.
And quoting you just a minute ago, I believe you were saying this doesn't happen. No, it's over millions of years. There's no like sudden. James,
Well,
you
this
brought
was
up
a
about the
flood.
Mediterranean. Yeah, it was a sudden, gigantic,
Thousands of
catastrophic
years.
flood. It
Was it
wasn't never
thousands of years?
It was a
But that's
sudden
different
event.
from events that would take longer periods of time. Sure. There was
Sure,
a flood
but
for
what-
2,500 years
Mike,
in a very
it wasn't-
specific part of the world.
It wasn't a flood. The main idea behind it is that it was a sudden, catastrophic breaking of an ice dam. Yes, maybe there was a little bit of residual floodings that continued, but it was a catastrophic event that shaped it.
For 2,000
The
years.
paradigm that these things don't happen, so what I'm talking about is what held back common sense understanding that should have been recognized just because, but it went against the grain, it went against the paradigm, so it was fought against for so long. And so science, in its own way of doing things, quote unquote science, held back actual understanding.
Were they, though?
Example.
Were there controversies? Because, again, that sounds
Yeah.
like something just in creationist circles.
No, this is something that has nothing to do with creationists.
People fought against there being floods for thousands of years?
So there are debates in science, but I mean, science is very slow at times to react and assimilate new data. They do tend to bias, what they already have, and maybe there's good reasons for that.
But this was a specific part of the world. This was for thousands of years, which has no reflection to any biblical story. This is I don't understand, because the whole point, we know floods happen. Lots of floods happen. They'll continue to happen.
Nobody
They may
denies
happen worse
flood.
because of global warming. But
We just don't have any evidence for a global,
a
worldwide
global flood in which all of the animals come from this one flood event because they were on a boat.
To say there's no evidence isn't
No good evidence.
factual. Okay.
Because
Again, we
you
both
could hold
don't
up the
know.
Bible and say
Both
that's
don't
evidence.
know. So if you work in the realm of probabilities, you have the evidence for one, the evidence for the other, and which one becomes more probable.
But again, you say we don't know. James and I know that the way that the Bible describes how animals came about is wrong. James, am I accurately describing?
Yes, fundamentally wrong.
Yes, and so we know that the way that the Bible describes the order of events within the universe coming to be is wrong. We know that the way that organisms, humans, came about, Adam and Eve, was wrong. And we know that Noah and how animals would come from one boat and one single worldwide flood event is wrong. Does that mean we know everything? No, far from it. And sometimes the more we know, the more questions get answered. However, I don't see how Judaism, Christianity, Islam, or any of the religions that have actually come about so far help us in any
We'll give you
scientific
Buddhism.
manner.
We'll give you Hinduism. We'll
Yeah,
throw
all of
those in
them.
too. The ancient Egyptian religion, the Greeks, the Romans, Native American
And
religions, all of them.
a $2 rebate.
To pagan barn.
I would definitely disagree. I would say that religion and specifically Christianity has probably shaped the way that we live and who we are. Maybe
Oh,
more
it
than
definitely
anything
has
else.
had a huge impact on our society. That's not the natural world. That's human dynamics, and people have believed this religion over the years, and they've integrated that belief into our public policy and our politics and our history. But it's not the natural world.
Well, I would go so
It has
far.
influenced our views of the natural world. Like we've only been able to get our heads out of the Bible the past couple hundred years and actually look at reality without having to pretend it all lines up with the Bible. Where we can actually do real science and inquiry.
Well, there's a lot jam packed there, so I won't overcome all of that. But
Okay.
I would argue that Christianity is intrinsically a good thing for our society and for individuals. I think that it's the right way to go about approaching our lives. I mean, and I think it has a tremendous, it just benefits people so much. I mean, it's weird talking about it like that, but I think that you can demonstrate this using data.
So a utility argument that we get sometimes that it's good.
I only brought
In
it because
some
I think
ways.
you guys referenced it. You want to know why. It's not good for anything or something. And I was like, well, actually, I think it's the complete opposite. I mean, and I think you guys would in part agree with me. It is a good thing.
Good is a subjective term. That's not like good for one person, bad for another.
And I think it had its uses maybe in the past when, we were trying to cobble together what things were. They were our first attempts at chemistry and physics and a lot of these subjects that we talk about academically now. But I would say they've moved away from that. I would say that they're no longer the sources of morality that we should. So I think that whether Jesus was. Yes, it's hit or miss. Exactly. It looks like a text that was made by humans, inspired by humans. And so I would take it and leave it as much as any text from that time, because the often claim is that they know more than people of the time. And I have found in looking into the majority of these holy texts that it looks exactly like the knowledge and morality of the time. That
Ancient
yes, it oftentimes, ancient man. It
ancient man
oftentimes
being ancient man.
comes from the academics of the day. These were the scribes because these were the only people that knew how to read and write.
Educated.
So yeah, you're going to get those type of people writing it. However, even they only had so much knowledge back then.
And it made sense. It made sense to them at the time. Like, okay, we find a dead body between two cities. Of course, you get a cow and you bring it out and you decapitate the cow to cleanse the land of the. I mean, that just made sense to ancient man. It doesn't make sense to anybody, but it made sense to them at the time. They didn't know anything. They were just trying to cobble their way through the wilderness, and they came up with something that made sense.
And James, you know what? There may have been a lot of trading of cows, so you got to have those rules down in this
RuneScape.
book. But yes,
if you approach scripture with that mindset, you lose out on so much of how wonderful it is, and in so many levels, as well as being scientific. And I'll just say this: the modern scientists, and I'm talking about relative relatively recent history, so let's say last 300 years or 500, whatever you want,
Mhm.
are predominantly Christians who believe in the Bible.
I don't know about that.
It's just
Well,
facts.
I mean, you can do lots of good science and be Christian. It's not necessarily
And most of the people
conflicting.
live in other like countries like India. Most of the humans in Africa that might have
Most of our
completely
modern
different
science came from
religions.
Christian. Most of our modern science
I
forefathers
would like to
were
see a
Christian.
source that says it came from Christianity. I always get this
I
that
didn't say
they
it
would
came from
ever
Christianity.
insert.
I said most of our, forefathers in modern scientific field is what were Christians. You just all it takes is just going down the list of achievements.
So they founded lots of branches of science. That's true, but did they use Christian principles to do it, or were they just products of their time where, everybody, you didn't really have a choice at the time not to be Christian because a lot of, they were just coming out of the era where it was enforced by law. They'd execute you if you challenged the church. You didn't have that choice because Christians said you don't have that choice. You can't opt out.
No, a lot of the ones who were, for a long time, it was the Christian church, which of course was the bad. They were the ones that dictated what science and what isn't science, and they persecuted other Christians because they went against their paradigm. But it's the same thing now, just now it's the secular world. Of course, not as punished like burn at the stake or anything, but pretty much you could lose your job, would get blacklisted, not being able to be published, that kind of thing.
But it's pretty easy search that the highest religion of most scientists nowadays is no religion, is atheist or agnostic. And the founding fathers, especially of this religion and of the 1800s of the time, was generally a deism, a non-interacting God. And it seemed to be very popular as science seemed to be coming about. I don't think that
Sure,
was
well,
a
at least they believed
coincidence.
in God, you guys. I mean,
Okay.
all right. I mean, because at least now, at least they were sane. Just joking. I'm gonna pick on you.
I hear fine.
But also you got to consider the time too, because you have the predominant power. Yes, it was England, but what else was it? It was the English Church. So you had this.
The most secularized
You
now.
weren't just rebelling against England; you were rebelling against this ideology of persecution in general.
Yeah, church and state were not separate. Yeah.
I think that a lot. I read a few books of the guys at the time. Notably Thomas Paine. I think if Thomas Paine knew the things that I know about Scripture, his viewpoint would be completely different. But I definitely respect what he did for our country and all that. I think at his deathbed, he cried out for God and repented of writing, the Age of Reason. But I think that all they have is nurses to go off of that. Died alone, sad.
That's like Darwin's deathbed conversion. He can confess that it was all nonsense. He became a younger.
I'm pretty sure that's not true.
Yeah.
But
who knows?
I will say, James, just one more quick.
Go ahead.
Two quick things.
Yeah, go ahead.
One, P-Town, we're probably going to go for about 10 or 15 more minutes, and then you're probably going to be our last guest for the show. We're probably going to wrap it up. And the other one thing I want to touch on, because I'd be remiss if I didn't go into it just a little, which is just you were talking about a theory and a fact. And that is that evolution and the Big Bang are both theories and facts. Because a theory is a grouping of facts that we use to explain a phenomena. Now, we then use those to build more intricate models. So we use evolution as a fact now so that we can study evolution and that we can build models off of it. The same is true of the germ theory of disease. It is a theory. The germ theory of disease will always be a theory. We can say, oh, you're going to tell me something's going to overturn the germ theory of disease? Well, technically, yes, there could be some other explanation. I think that's silly. I think the germ theory of disease is one of the most well-substantiated theories out there. And yet we use that theory as a fact so that we can discover new theories. Yes.
Well, here let me pulverize your points here.
Pulverize me, baby.
Pulverize her.
Okay. I'll just go off of germ theory. The original one to think of this was a guy called Semmelweis who was persecuted because of his beliefs. He was a Christian. Germ did pick up from his work until years later and got his stuff published, of course, without adding the spiritual or religious terminology. At the time, someone was calling it spirits, evil spirits, or whatever. But still, the idea of being able, of there being something really small and invisible affecting people, he was the one. But then at that time, just as it has been for a long time now, was persecuted because of his beliefs. When you talk about the Big Bang and how it's fact as well as theory is silly, honestly, how do you dictate?
Can I pause? I know you're about to talk about Big Bang.
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't see any retort in just saying it's spirits. I don't understand. Okay.
The point is
no
that
longer think that.
The point is that he was the one who made the discovery, but was persecuted in the scientific community because of his beliefs. He's still, we call it germs because germ picked up from his work later on. Learn about the guy. He's interesting. Semmelweis. Okay. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not. But why not? How would you dictate?
There are many scientists that get persecuted. There's a long history, in fact. There's a long history of religion persecuting different models for coming out. And I don't understand, how this is rebutting the fact that germs are both a theory and a fact at all.
Just because a guy like Germ comes out and basically says the same thing but using different words doesn't make it a better theory or better fact, is my point.
So it's a good theory because we have a good amount of evidence for germs being and multiplying within systems and thus us getting sick from them.
What I'm saying is Semmelweis did it first, and let me tie this into the Big Bang. The Bible is filled with stuff that alludes to what we have relatively recently discovered that we use to extrapolate backwards and theorize as the Big Bang. But God said those things first in the Bible. But
see, now you're saying just the Bible says things first, but that's separate from there being things like theories and facts.
My point is, what makes your theory / wannabe fact better when God said it first? The numbers,
because it has nothing to do with God.
How they're moving away from us, at an accelerated rate. How they're all kind of different. The being innumerable.
Getting the order of creation wrong. The order of the universe.
And the idea that there is a beginning, which has come, I've heard you say, a singularity, but you've alluded to what would be a beginning. What does the Bible start with? In the beginning. These are things that there's so much in modern science, especially cosmology, that literally are from the Bible, but no one can point it out. It's not going to be in a scientific textbook, even though God said it first. And I think that that's a shame.
There's many stories before the Bible that began with "in the beginning." I don't understand.
You don't know that.
We do know that.
No. Sorry.
Okay. I mean, the Bible's not that old of a text. It's old, but they're much older texts.
Why wouldn't it be so hard to say, in a scientific textbook? Coincidentally, in the Bible, it says this. Oh, it just happens. Oh, God got lucky again. Wouldn't that be nice? Oh, to
Well,
at
No,
least
because it's
give him
ad
gets
some
hoc.
wrong a
recognition.
lot, but I
Yes, it
mean,
also gets wrong a lot. But it's also ad hoc. It's saying that he stretched out the heavens is trying to explain a natural phenomena. But there is no heavens as far as we can tell. The heavens seems to have changed because it used to be the heavens were just everything that was up. Now
Under the
we know
firmament.
that we leave the planet. And so it can't be just up because there isn't really an
the
up.
stars are not just lights on the dome.
Also, the singularity is not a nothing. So it's true that there was a big bang, but it could have been that the singularity has just always been. And that is, time was able to happen because of an expansion. There was space, however, there was no time because without space, you cannot have.
Before we go, I want to just touch on this real quick. I want to get, because I didn't get an answer. Or at least I think I didn't. But would you agree that Christianity is intrinsically a good thing for society and individuals?
No, it is extremely outdated. It's a moral system like many other Abrahamic moral systems. It doesn't mean you're going to go crazy. You know, there are many productive Christians out there, but it depends on what you decide to pick and choose from Christianity. You could pick a very nice form of Christianity. You could pick a very Old Testament, as they say, form of Christianity. I always love some of those things because, you know, the Old Testament, that has to stay in. But when we're talking about stoning people to death, nonetheless, I digress. You know, those type of moralities come from thousands of years ago. It shows, but Christians, Jews, Muslims, they could all be great people with great, productive, brilliant scientists. You know, sometimes the religion doesn't affect them at all. Sometimes it makes them quite literalists, in which I do think it becomes harmful. Not always, you know, there are different scales. I don't think, P-Town, I think you're probably a good person. I don't think you're ever going to hurt anyone or whatever. But, you know, there are people out there that will use their religion and will use it as an excuse to hurt people, and will use that as cover to think that they're actually good people. So, you know, it's not really about the individual. It's really about the concept in and of itself. But James, I've been blabbing. Oh, you might be away for a second.
I was just gonna say from before, P-Town was saying about evolution. You know, we're only looking at what's left, what made it. You know, there's lots of organisms that did fall apart, that didn't make it. They went extinct. Yeah, so evolution really is just throwing everything against the wall, and we're looking at the few things that stick and say, "Oh wow, those were amazingly designed." Well, yeah, because everything else died. You know, and that's the nature of the beast, that there's been lots of death, lots of animals that were not fit. Like we look at the giraffes and their amazing neck. Well, yeah, because the things that didn't have that neck, they died. They weren't able to eat. So yeah, that's the
Well,
nature
let
of
me, because I
life.
want to get your opinion, you know, on what I said, but I also want to address what you just said, James. And so I'll rephrase this question. You view that, you know, from your belief, death, there's so much death and things dying, and then the few things that lived, this is what causes change, and this has happened over millions, billions of years, and now we're looking at the product of this. And then I believe that God made us, and He made the animals. Which one is just cooler. Which one's better?
Okay, there you go. That's why people say you're a po town. Yeah.
No, but I think it's a just curious point. I mean,
But can I hold on? I think ours is cooler. I like the circle of life better. Because in God's worldview, it's this weird type of he owns you. He owns you like we can make all these fun jokes about capitalism and all this. There ain't no slave driver like Yahweh. Let me tell you, there's even an Abrahamic religion that decided to name themselves submission. And so, like, and they tell me if I were to ask you if you were a slave of God, P-Town, I have no doubt in my heart that
A lot
you
of
would
them
go,
say, yeah,
I
slave
am
to Jesus.
absolutely am I a slave to Jesus. Daddy, put me on my knees. And so I will always take, from our freedom perspective, I will always take, even though it includes a death that is permanent, I will take my truly free life. I would take my truly free life even if the God existed, because I wouldn't bow. Like I would acknowledge their existence, and I would go, oh well, I guess I'm a theist now, just like Satan is a theist. But I definitely, not only do I prefer our model, I'm glad that's where the evidence lies, because I'd be freaking out if there was good evidence for the Bible. I guess I would be, starting to sweat more, because there are not good things in it for, they always say that's the reason why I'm an atheist. It's like, no, trust me. If it says bad things about me, then I want to know whether it's true or not. What's up, BV? What's up? Good morning, Geo, Austin Sims, and Victoria. Mwah, mwah, mwah. But P-Town, right back over to you, and then in like 5 minutes, we're probably gonna head out.
We'll be done.
well, I mean, he did give you that choice. I mean, it's why did God do that? Why did He give us choice? I guess is what you would say. I mean,
So we can burn people.
it's a choice. I mean, you can see the evidence that's just obvious right there in front of your eyes, or you can go do your own thing, Amy. I mean, He gave you that choice. But one day, we're all going to die, and we're going to be on our deathbeds, and we're going to be rethinking this. And yes, I mean, in terms of being a slave, a servant, probably a better word, but the intensity of it, slave, I mean, yeah, I am. It's not easy all the time, but yeah, it's not, but it's not something against your will. It's not, that
See, but I
it's not
hear
like
it in
that.
your voice. That's what kills me. The reinterpretation. You say it like it's a hard thing sometimes, like something you're working on. Like it's a hard thing to be a parent, but you do your best and you always work. But it should be a bad thing. It should be like, I'm a slave. Holy shit. Oh my God. He won't let me go. That is what I don't understand, because it's this reinterpretation of it's actually a beautiful thing. It's something you got to work on. It's like community service. It's like going to the gym, being a slave for God. That's the cult like that I think James and I know the C word when we use that, but I really don't mean it as an ad hominem. I mean it as a literal, actual version of that. However, we could probably go back and forth, and we've covered a lot. But P-Town, is there any final words, any shout outs, anything on your mind before we head out of here? Oh,
Sure,
actually,
I mean,
hold on.
yeah.
Wait, no, I'm sorry, P-Town, I'm going to cut you off because Gizmo would whip me if I didn't do this. Okay, P-Town, We have been Midnight Ranting on We Evolved. We are Apes. I hope you had some fun. And now, without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to you for any final thoughts.
Okay, well, just going off of what you're talking about when it comes to being a slave, a servant of Christ, the message is simple: is you love other people, which means you give some of your life to them. So it means being a friend to someone that you don't necessarily want to be friends with, but because you're letting God choose your friends, you want to help people, or taking care of the widows, the sick, the lonely, the homeless, going out of your way, apologizing, or being patient with people, apologizing when you really don't need to apologize. This is being a servant to God instead of chasing upward mobility, trying to just fill your 401k or maximize your ranking on the Fortune 500 or whatever. I mean, it's doing what's right without trying to expect anything in return. I think these are good things, and in this way, I think it's okay to be a slave to Christ. Guys, I know it's been a long time. Thanks for having me.
P-Town, thank you so very much for joining us. We are going to, I think, wrap up. I want to say so much, but I actually really do appreciate you coming on, P-Town, and stepping, into the ring with us and having
Jamie's
fun.
hot seat.
Into the hot seat. But James, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to hand it over to you. Oh.
See? No. What?
For any final thoughts. Thank you so much, P-Town.
Well, that was a lot of fun. We've missed the Midnight Ranting. It's been a while. It's been too long. It's good to be back on midnight. Our time slot, our traditional red eye late night time slot. Great to be back.
Woo-hoo! Indeed. It's fun to be back. I do want to send, I have to do like one last thing, but hopefully it'd be something that he wouldn't want to have too much of a response to anyway, is that some of the things that he said, okay, except for the ending, I'm going to skip the ending on the servant thing, but like the doing good for the right reason, trying to help others, I think we should do that. I think there are secular ways of doing that, but I can always get down with people being nicer, kinder, and more fair, which are my metrics for morality to begin with. But we'll have more conversations like that.
Sure.
All right. I hope you all had I had one more announcement. I almost want to talk to you about it on live, though it doesn't thing. I'm thinking about creating also a daytime open mic, something like Open Skeptic or something. Think of some sort of name, but just so that we can also get some open mics during when we have regular daytime shows.
We could do a skeptic and ranting open mic. It's not the typical format.
It's true. It's almost like I don't want to mix. I love me a new. I need to get back on it. Gizmo has been once again talking about hitting me in the back of the head. I want to get back with more production values and really start getting songs for different types of shows, getting more of the graphics updated, more emojis, more everything. So hopefully, I have a 2-week break coming up, so hopefully I can get some stuff in there. But yeah, more upcoming. Anyway, I hope you had fun on this episode of Midnight Ranting, where we talked about why we evolved and are apes no more or less evolved than any other ape, even if we are the only species that has indeed learned how to make a funnel cake and other fried food. I think
Maybe one day
dolphins
we'll
are
get to the
working
moon.
on it. It's just hard underneath, underwater. But I hope that you had a time so good that it evolved into fun. I do want to thank my co-host James W. along with our panel P-Town, as well as all of the lovely people in chat, our awesome mods who make the stream so great, and lovely viewers like you. What's up, Rachels? Mwah! What's up, everybody in there? DJ Rat Girl, Aragon, the one true king. I'm sending love to all of you. If you and a kitty says hi. Oh my, James, I need a sip of Gatorade.
Meow.
Yes, I would like Buttercup to send love to all of you. She does. But yes, if you enjoy the show, please don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe. I said it, YouTube. I said it. You can let them go. They only have so much longer to live. And then you can hit that bell icon to all so that you get reminders to see our premieres or join our live streams. I want to see, this is one thing that I've been excited for, and I've never seen the original. Have you watched Squid Games, James? That's one thing that's popular geeky wise that I haven't watched.
Negative.
Okay, it's up and coming for me because I want to see it. The second, I've watched the trailer for the second, and it looks so good, and yet I've never seen it. Look at all the comments. They're like, oh my god, the character development of the main character is so cool. And I'm like, cool trailer. Anyway, ADHD, focus. I can't help it, James. Every once in a while, a Darth Dawkins bot comes up in front of me and I get distracted. Gary. Anyway, go check out, by the way, speaking of debaters.
I have an important meeting I have to attend. I'll be right back. Okay, Mom!
I'm coming down for dinner. But yes, sending love also to Mark Reid. You should all go check out his debate on Modern Day Debate, as I'm sure he kicked the butt out of a bunch of flat earthers because they are
they deserve it, though.
Flat earthers. Once again, I try not to ad hom flat earthers because of the presentation by the Birds Aren't Real gentleman, which was a meme campaign to make fun of conspiracy theorists, and that he kind of realized that they're just a bunch of guys stuck in bad positions in life. And so instead of making fun of them, we just got to win them over with logic and empathy. Hey. Go Team Skeptic. Yes. Sending love to all the people who sent in super chats. Sending love to Empathy Respect, to It's a Rubiks and Native Atheist. Thank you so very much. Yeah, she wants to go to bed.
I bet Austin. How the Austin Sims did an after show?
Yeah, did they do an after show?
Austin Sims said he did.
Oh, you hosted the after show? Then everyone, go check out Austin.
Yeah, Nathan's
Sims
immune to
after
logic.
show. Nathan is yeah.
You debated him, right? You did. I believe you did.
Indeed, yes. And they are showmen more than they are anything else. Here's the thing: they do comedy and acts, but they don't call themselves comedians. That's the difference. They act like it is real. Everyone go check out that too.
Map
Mark
Israel.
And Dr. Blitz sending love to them.
I believe Israel has been fairly well mapped.
Yes, it has. I'm pretty sure. except for the raiders that have been looking for the Lost Ark. I'm pretty sure that's the only thing left. Probably that, and the people trying to still prove the Shroud of Terran. They're mapping what is left.
I
of
keep
this flat
seeing
world.
videos pop up on that like every few days. Like they're talking about
Oh,
that thing.
James, you should. Because of the sadistic nature, apparently, we should pick a good Shroud of Terran, and we'll do it sometime.
They're talking about it again. It's like, damn, that thing is back.
I don't
Or
know
Jello's
why.
gonna come out of the wall.
That's true. We have actually said that. I shouldn't say that any word because I'm pretty sure if you
pop up
say it
out of
3
nowhere.
times, he
Yeah.
does pop up. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it might. We don't want to push our luck.
Send in love,
Amen.
Sven.
I will baptize you.
Hopefully, I'll be. That's right. He will baptize me in orange jello. Hopefully, we'll be doing more shows. I do feel like I'm starting to get things together. I'm getting processes in both of my teaching jobs, and so I want to podcast more. Excuse me, losing my voice.
Just because you show how one thing irreduced complex can evolve does not mean you know how everything evolved. You have to show everything.
Everything, all the way back to abiogenesis.
What about
right now?
this? What about this animal? What about that feature? What about
All of
that
them.
one? Can you tell me how that evolved?
And yet they will
Yes.
never answer any questions
And
about any logistics.
We could, and then you would just move on. Okay, well,
Exactly.
now tell me about this one. Okay, well, what about that one? Yeah, you never stop.
I have
It's like
had
chasing a magical unicorn. You can never
quite a
give them
few
enough
science
evidence.
teachers who have pointed out that science does not answer why questions because why questions are endless. It answers how questions. It is not
Oh, yeah.
why is it raining outside. It is how does the water cycle work.
Right.
Slight difference. Also, a tip if you have a 3-year-old who is asking endless questions. Which, for better or for worse, is the
This
same
is cause
advice
and
I
effect.
talk if
I'll
you're talking
hit you
to a
with this so
creationist.
hard, you'll go flying that way. That's cause and effect.
Cause and effect, yes. Yes, cause and effect on this episode of Midnight Ranting. We evolved in our apes. Keep on hitting all those buttons. Thank you for the super chats. But also sending love to channel members with our evolving badge system. Again, evolution
It's proof.
seems to
It is
trigger
proof.
the
It's a fact.
creationist.
It's proof.
As I can barely breathe tonight. The coffin, Jesus loves you. He died
Thank
for your
you.
sins. He's a gentleman. He's knocking on your heart. You know what I like about that sentence the most? He's a gentleman.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't want
Down with a
Jesus to
gentleman.
not be a gentleman. Jesus, at least, we could say, would open doors for people, right? Send in love, Kaufman. Nice to have you, even if we disagree with you.
He is not going to force you to believe in him, okay? He will
No,
not.
I know that.
You have the choice. I mean,
You have the choice.
can believe in him, or he will burn you forever. But
Which
it's
is
up to you.
yeah. There you go. You beat me to it. It's the equivalent of holding a gun to someone's head and saying, "You have the choice of giving me your wallet tonight."
Well, but officer, she gave me the purse. Yeah. Well, I gave her a choice. She could either be shot or she chose to give me the purse. So I mean, I guess that's voluntary. It's not
exactly.
Not
it was my free will, James, to give him my purse.
It's her free will to hand it over. And then, of course, Amy's. He just looks in, finds a bunch of dildos and vibrators, and it's like,
Eureka!
You can have it back, lady.
And then it gets thrown. Oh, whew! It's a miracle, James. A Christmas miracle.
From heaven.
That's right. I don't know what is all that white liquid. It must be snow.
Amy's
there we go. We've hit our intellectual
Christmas.
Peak tonight. That's right.
Amy's dreaming of a white Christmas.
No matter what skin color, You are, James. It doesn't matter. It all comes out white. I guess if you're healthy. Anyway, like I said, I feel like that's the intellectual peak of the episode. I don't know if we're gonna do better than that.
Yeah, we won't get much higher than that. We're about at the next.
Thus, I'm sending love as well as all the people at the Skeptic and Ranting Discord server. He wants a relationship. So here's the thing. If he wants a relationship, I'm open. However, gonna have to have a date first. I'm open on us, he doesn't have to pay for me completely. We can go maybe halvesies, maybe he'll go once, I'll pay once, that's okay. But if you want a true relationship, I'm really big on them being here,
Real, existing.
real. I've always been, and I get it. When we say that, it always sounds super offensive, and I get it. From your point of view, he's as real as, my partner, as, anyone out there, our mom and dad, but he is really good at hide and seek from our perspective. Really good. However, I'll keep on saying it. Please don't feel, even though we're saying statements that you may disagree with, you have a home here. We are the Skeptic and Ranting community.
Out there. Good to see you, Regos.
Regos, that's right. Sending so much. Want a relationship when doesn't manifest in reality? Yes, we really just want things that are real. Once again, James, of all the people that are saying it, someone like me, I know, it's crazy. Already paid for your sins. I like that it makes it sound like that you were at a restaurant. He's like, he's already paid. You're good.
It's like, yeah, the guy in front of you paid.
Exactly. We didn't really choose to have this. That was like an Adam and Eve thing. What's up, Pat? I feel bad. We're seeing all these amazing people, and we're about to head out of there. I know. We're still chugging along. Though that's true. We are about to head out. But we're sending so much love to Pat and Regos, Davegar, everyone out there. Welcome, like we said, Kaufman. But sending love also to Sven and Austin Sims and everybody out there still around. Many ways to support the show. We'll keep on saying you can join our evolving badge system. I need to have an emoji contest or poll or something. Ways to get some sort of feedback from people. Oh my goodness, she's being a brat. She is being such a brat. I have Moonlight hanging down there, and she so wants to. Oh my goodness, yeah, she
coming down there to bother Moonlight.
Yeah, Moonlight loves her though.
Yeah.
She was basically raised with him at this point.
Yeah, they're used
to
All right, there you go, Moonlight.
And there we go.
I'm out.
All right, Brat 1 and Brat 2 as we wrap up. But yes, not only that, but our Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman. This is James W. and I am Amy Newman. And we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z. Good night, everyone. Mwah! Hopefully a Bible study or something fun this week. Woo, woo, woo. Good night. Welcome so much, John. Woo! And yes, with that, we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball. Over 9,000.